Hi, I'm Michelle Villalobos, and in this video I'm going to share with you how to lead a retreat. If you don't know me already, then you may not know that I lead retreats for a living, and I've been doing this model for several years now successfully. And I also teach other people how to do retreats. I've probably run more than 50 or 60 retreats in the past 7 years. And if you add on top of that all the workshops, seminars, conferences, and other types of events I've led, it's well into 100, maybe even 200. So I know a lot about this topic, and I want to save you from the time and misery that I went through by making some of the most common mistakes. Now, before I dive into how to lead a retreat, I do want to address that if you don't know exactly what a retreat is, you might want to check out my video, What is a Retreat? You can do that after watching this video by clicking the link above and opening it in a new tab, so you can come back to it later. So first I'm going to discuss a little bit about how to plan a retreat, including how far in advance you should plan your retreat. And then I'm going to get into how to expertly facilitate your retreat. And finally, I'll get into how to be a good retreat leader. Oh, and before I forget, watch all the way through to the end because I have a very valuable free gift that I'll be giving you. So let's talk a little bit first about how to plan a retreat. Now, I'm not going to go deep into this topic because I also have a video called How to Plan a Retreat. But I do want to mention a couple of things that are important at this juncture. It's important to both create a plan and have an outline for what you want to accomplish, what activities are essential to that, and how you're going to organize your retreat weekend. And it's also really fundamentally important that you leave room for magic, that you leave room for the lessons that the universe has in store for you, not just the lessons that you want to plan. It's important because in a retreat, what I've learned is that things just happen, and you want to trust that those things are part of the experience. And I'm especially talking about the things that aren't very fun or that seem like a detour off of your plan. A lot of times those can be where the biggest pieces of magic actually live. So leave room for magic and leave space and time to integrate. And by the way, I did address the question of how far in advance should you plan your retreat. So just quickly, I'll say that I would give yourself at least 90 days. 90 days is a good amount of time to give yourself room to enroll people, engage people, market to people, and also to create your logistics and get your venue and all of that. Now, I think on the high side, the most amount of time that I would give yourself is up to a year. And I would only say to take that long for a retreat that's far away or that's really long and that's going to take up a lot of room on someone's calendar. But if you're using retreats like I do as a business model in order to drive more business into your back end, into your mastermind groups, into your coaching programs, then I would say about 90 days to about 120 days is the max, is the sweet spot for planning and having your retreat on the calendar so that people can set aside those dates and really be fully present during that time. So now let's talk about how to expertly facilitate your retreat, how to be a great retreat leader. Like I said, first thing is you gotta have a plan and leave room for magic. But inside of that, it's so important that you fundamentally understand your audience and what their needs and wants are, and that you have a clear sense of the value proposition that your retreat provides. Now, there are 4 basic types of retreats that I like to tell people to think about. The first type of retreat is what I call a project completion retreat. Now, if you're leading a project completion retreat, then it is imperative that your people complete the project they came to complete. I'll give you an example. I have a client named Leanne Webster, and she does something called Lead Machine Weekend. Lead Machine Weekend is a 3-day retreat. She does it virtually now, where people come in and they create all of their email marketing materials and fundamentals. They create a landing page, a lead magnet, a follow-up email sequence, all the things that they need to start automating their email marketing. Now, as a retreat leader, Leanne's responsibility is to make sure that every single person walks away with that done. Now, you might say, well, that's kind of a big promise. You know, what happens if somebody doesn't do the work? Well, and that's where it comes in that as a retreat leader, you are responsible for your clients' outcomes. And that means only enrolling people in the retreat that are going to be able to get that outcome. So knowing the promise and making sure that you deliver on that promise is your primary responsibility as a retreat leader. Another thing you're responsible for is the retreat experience. Yes, you're responsible for the outcome, and you're also responsible for how people get there. It doesn't really work so well. It certainly isn't going to serve your business or your clients if you get the outcome, but it was a terrible and miserable experience. So part of your role is to keep that energy level up, to stay positive, and to work on your own mindset to make sure that your people are really feeling that they can do this and that it's not hard work and it's not difficult or challenging, but that they can have a really good time. So that's a project completion retreat. A second type of retreat is a personal discovery retreat or a self-development retreat. What happens is people come in and they have breakthroughs, they have aha moments, and they discover something new about themselves. One of these types of retreats, you could think about Tony Robbins events. His events are personal discovery events. As a retreat leader, the way to lead a personal discovery retreat is to provide, first and foremost, a safe space. People need a safe space if they're going to go inward and go deep. And so as a retreat leader, your role is to create that safe space. Now, what does that look like? That means creating the rules of engagement, setting the guidelines for your retreat, and making sure that people are following the rules and holding people to the standards you set. It doesn't really work if you set a standard and then let everybody not meet it. So here's an example. Our retreats are project completion retreats, but we also weave in elements of all the other types. So we have a lot of personal development and personal discovery in there. So one of the things I do is I make sure to let people know that they need to be there for the whole retreat. They can't come and go, pop in and out. This isn't that kind of rodeo, right? We got to make sure that people are fully engaged and present. Otherwise, it doesn't feel good for someone if they're sharing and somebody's not there and they're out of the room. Here's what happens, what I mean by holding the standard. If I find that somebody keeps turning their camera off or leaving the room in a live retreat, it's my responsibility as the retreat leader to talk to that person and remind them, hey, this is the standard. Are you willing to meet me here? Otherwise, it might be a good thing for you to leave and maybe come back to a future retreat. Now, I've had to do that before, and being a good retreat leader means having those uncomfortable conversations to hold those standards. Another type of retreat is a community building or a bonding retreat. In those retreats, the most important thing is for people to come together and connect. And as the retreat leader, your role in that type of retreat is to facilitate connection. That means weaving into the program opportunities for people to connect one-on-one, in small breakout rooms, and mixing up the groups. I've been to events and retreats that say that they're about networking, and then there's no time available to connect with other people. So make sure that you create that space, create that opportunity, and maybe even develop some activities to help people connect more effectively. And the fourth type of retreat is a learning or skills building retreat. Now, one of the biggest challenges that I've seen with these types of retreats in terms of the leadership of it is that the leader thinks that they are responsible for imparting all of the information. And as you've probably heard me say before, information is not transformation. Your job as the retreat leader, as the facilitator, is to make sure that people not only hear the information or see the information, but actually get into it, get their hands on it, and apply it. That's the absolute most effective way for people to get the transformations they came for. So mixing this all together, just remember that your role as the facilitator is to make sure people get that outcome that you promised them, to create the container, to set the rules, to hold those standards, to create the opportunities, and to make sure that people get the fabulous experience that you want them to. Before I move on to my final point, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and set the alert so that you get announced every time that I drop a video, which I do often. Thank you. So in order to be a good retreat leader, one of the most important things you need to do is get your mindset straight. If you're going to be leading a group of people on a journey for 3 or 5 or however many days, then you need to watch your energy. Every single day that I'm leading a retreat, in the morning, I'm doing at least a 1-hour morning practice to get myself in the right space and state in order to be an effective leader. You want to build your confidence, connect to your heart, slow down, breathe. The idea is that if you are stressed out or trying to control everything, people will sense that, they will feel that, whether consciously or subconsciously. What you want to be is grounded, centered, calm, and confident. So do whatever it takes to cultivate those emotions within yourself, because that's going to be a much more effective place to lead from than being stressed out or anxious. So mind your mindset. So if you like this video and you like the idea of leading retreats for a living, then I can teach you how to do exactly that. And I have a free gift that I've put together for you. It's called Retreats to Riches Roadmap. You can get it at retreatstorichesroadmap.com or click on the link below, and basically it'll walk you through the exact 7 steps you need to do to design, fill, and monetize your retreats, and it's free. Enjoy.